get in there. What did I even title this? In the latter days. Wow. Let me see. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, y'all. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Don't sound like it. There we go. Mic check. There we go. All right, mic's on. Let's go. Let y'all get in here real quick. We got a lot going on in the world today. Boy, I tell you. Wilding out. They wilding out in the real world. Nuts. Let's go. All right. Let's get it. Let's get it. What's up, Benicia? What's up, Teach for Life? What's up, Chop? So, I ain't gonna delay y'all with this. Where's this reverb coming from? I ain't gonna delay y'all on this, man. Let's get to it. It's a lot to talk about. We got a WAR started by a president, and lie after lie after lie of why they started this war is being rebutted. We got this species of human that popped up recently. YNs taking over Houston, destroying Houston. What's up, Daquan? Destroying Houston. Now that he went down to Daytona, destroying Daytona. We got the weather going crazy. It's 71 day, 28 degrees the next day. It's wild out here. It is wild. What's crazy though, if you ever picked up any Bible, any book, and looked in Revelation, it talks about this stuff to the T, to a science, to the T. Like spells it out. I think the first thing we gotta talk about, we'll get back on the war thing later. We gotta talk about this YN situation. When I was watching the video from Houston, it's like wow. And I was watching the video in Dallas where it was YNs, YMs, and YWs. So young Mexicans, young niggas, and young whites. And the thing in Dallas at the St. Patty's Day event, people getting knocked out, going crazy. Then I see Houston. First question. All right. So with the Houston thing, the brawl and the fighting, and then them getting pimped by these clubs. These clubs charging 500, 600. So I went to Houston back in 2024. It was my second time going to Houston. And Houston was expensive. Went with a group of people. It's crazy. I talked to none of those people no more. We had rented out an Airbnb. We had a good time in Houston, except when the one particular person acted a fool on their birthday. So trip ended early, shot back to Michigan, to the D. Houston is an expensive place. I wouldn't want to live there. It rained a lot when we were down there. It was nice. It was bougie. Um, being in formerly in management, now I solely own my own businesses and companies now. Uh, where's the Italians getting the money to do this shit? So they paying $500, $600 to get in these clubs in Houston, right? I, being a manager, always had a problem getting these YNs to come to work. They don't want to work and they get a check for the first time, even in business, right? Um, the cleaning company offering $20 an hour to go do the easiest work. Mop, change trash, walk out the door. $20 an hour. I got my son doing it, right? I couldn't find any work. GERS, been in management at General Motors. I've been in management at Jeep, at Chrysler. Um, I know these situations. We can't find people to work. So who is funding these spring break trips? Who is funding? Where is everybody getting these bags from? And nobody wants to go to work. Nobody. I'm not seeing a lot of different business owners. I'm not seeing a lot of businesses open up. It kind of reminds me of in Chicago when the people saying the government was bringing the guns into the city. right, and giving it to the YNs because that's where they was getting these guns from. Which makes sense. Is they funding them? Is they giving them money now? Because I don't see the work ethic there. I know one of the main things, like we were hiring people at Jeep General Motors starting at 25 something an hour, whatever, right? With the ability to make 30 and $40 an hour within a couple years. Do you think they wanted to stay? Do you know our main thing was manpower? Same thing going on at Ford. I'm no longer at Ford. I wasn't in management at Ford, but I was on the line. Um, I never seen the work ethic with these people. So I'm trying to figure out where they getting the money to to pay $500, $400 to get in the club. Then everywhere they go, it's like a pack of them. And remember when Mel Gibson got in all this trouble? He told his wife she was gonna get attacked by a pack of YNs. The shit is real now. I couldn't believe what I saw in Daytona Beach, hearing the shots, bam, bam. There's a crowd of people running. So then when it gets closer on the ground, when the videos start coming in on the ground, it's a bunch of YNs. Being out here where I live at now, just for the last couple of years, when I was younger, I was a problem, I would say, right? But I never tried to destroy anything. The group of people I were around, the group of people we even had beef with, the group of people when we go out, you have a group of people, one or two, that would like to cause shit and destroy a good time. Now, all these little YNs, YWs, YMs is destroying everything. They don't know how to go out and be peaceful. It's like this is all they want to do. So I went out a couple weeks ago with my YNs. They're around me, right? I'm the big homie. Um, and I went out with them because I haven't been out in a long time. Um, and I just wanted to see. Just it was an itch to scratch, right? So I go out and we went to. I'm not gonna say what place because the dude that owned it, me and him is cool. So I'm not gonna say the place. I don't want to take away his business, right? But the other spot out here, the bar that the YNs used to go to, got put on the public nuisance list, right? Another friend of mine is the owner of another club, and I'm not going to mention the clubs because I don't want to bring them negative attention. Another close friend of mine, he owns two clubs out here. You probably saw me doing the karaoke's there. One of his clubs got shut down last year because of a violent incident, but it had become a public nuisance because of YNs also, right? So the latest one is where all the YNs went to, and fortunately, no one got killed at this one, but it was a lot of fights. Um, Girl got hit by a car. If you're from where I'm from, you know what I'm talking about. Um, Dude got beat up. So I'm on camera, right? All this activity. Being a promoter, I've been promoting parties since over 20 years now, right? Um, I could never understand how it's all these beautiful women, right? And you want to fight coming from a male perspective. What's up, CC? What's up, Julio? I could never understand how what do you go to the club to do? You nowadays we used to go to the club to get numbers, meet people, get numbers, girls meet guys. That's what it used to be. Now girls just sit and dance with each other, the guys sit off, and no one interacts anymore, right? Um, it's just like it's meant for you to show off and some violent act of disruptive crazy shit to happen, right? So the last time I went in the club that got or the bar that got put on the public nuisance, right? And I used to go there just to people watch. That's why I think the times I still go out is just to people watch. I don't even really interact with a lot of things going on. I just go to people watch now. I'm a people person. I'm a extrovert, but I like to see people have a good time. The reason I retired from doing parties is because it had become so detrimental to your health and your survival. I just didn't want to do it no more. And this was 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, just before COVID. I had hit my peak in parties, right? 400, 500, 600 people a night, all the days of the weekends where we're throwing parties, right? And the hard part of that is being where I'm from. So you have Detroit and then you have Metro Detroit, right? And everyone is their own faction. So outside of, well, you got Detroit, you got the West Side, then you got the East Side dudes, and then you have the Southwest cats, which really don't come to the downtown as much in groups, right? So when you step out of the suburbs, or you step into the suburbs or outside of Detroit, now the Metro Detroiters will go into the city of Detroit to party, but you don't have as much as the Detroiters coming to the suburbs to party. That makes sense, right? But then you have these different factions. So when you step outside of Detroit City, you have Ypsi, you have Inkster, you have Romulus, and you have all these areas where you got groups of people that grew up, and then they have their own factions inside of that. The hardest part about that was keeping the peace, right? Because you have street peace. Me being everywhere outside, I have made allies amongst all of them. Cool name. So I was able to navigate that world with the respect of people because of what I did in the streets and what just being a personal person. Had to be for nobody. That was a very thin line. Sometimes it would get crossed, right? And then we would have issues. Not me personally, but people would collide, right? But it was a small faction. And I could never understood, and I would talk to these guys after we leave certain things will happen. And I'm like, why do y'all always want to bring the shit from the neighborhood to the party? You see each other 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You don't do the shit there, but you bring it to the club, right? Where everybody's trying to have a good time. And so knowing most of the people, they been talking about 6, 7, 5, 400, 300 people. I know a lot of the people that was at my parties, especially the main people. And so we had these conversations like, do that shit at home. Don't bring it to my spot. Then, because that makes me have to have a problem with you because you fucking with my money. Right? Get it? Understand. So a lot of the times we could stop the beef that way. Sometimes it would happen. It would be a fight. And then one time we was shooting, and a person that I knew was unfortunately unalive at one of these events. When the other promoters on the event decided to go not have me and my team do security, they wanted to go get law enforcement. But what they didn't understand is the respect and the mutual respect that the people had for me, they didn't have for the law enforcement. And these are cops that we had, right? Well known cops, Four Horsemen. You from Detroit, you know what I'm talking about. Um, and it just didn't, the party from the inside started getting out of hand and outside. Um, and an incident happened. I don't want to say the names again because the guy's son, he's grown up now. He follows me. He's been following me ever since that point on social media. We talk. It's been a while since we talked, but I know his father's proud of him. And so looking at this now, and I see growing up as a little bit older than this generation, right? I remember at some of our parties, one of my security guards, my big homie, got into it with some of these YNs at the time. And they were going to unalive him. So I happen to go out, I'm doing a sweep of the parking lot, and I see them getting in their car or in their truck, and they're passing back firearms. And so I was like, what are y'all doing? And they're like, oh, big dude, he think he hard. I'm like, I'm not gonna say his name. Like, Jay, would you say that? Like, yeah, he think he hard. Like, we about to, like, no, no, you're not. Chill out. The only way I was able to stop that, I've known these dudes since they were probably like 12, 13, 14, right? I used to hoop with them. I used to grow outside, kick it with them, playing ball, try to put thoughts in their head of positivity. Because when I was younger, my uncles, my cousins, my older homies did that with me, right? My rest in peace, my cousin Darnell, he used to take me with him and put positivity in me because I was wild at the time. So I tried to give back with that. It's the only reason I was able to pretty much stop them from lighting up the event, even though I was armed myself at the time, right? So the weekend later, they went to another event with some other guys I grew up with. Their party. They had a newer venue, a newer club they were at. Do you know what happened at that event? Because they didn't grow up with these young dudes. They weren't from there. They was from a different city. But I had lived my earlier part of my life in this one city. So I grew up with them, but I lived my later to adult years, my later teen to my adult years, where these young dudes was from. So same thing, same group of young YNs, right? Shot that shot their shit up. The city of Dearborn shut their establishment down right after that. The only difference was I keep an ear to the streets. I keep an ear to what's going on. But I could never understand why people just can't go out and have a good time. What I started to notice, being a promoter, I started to notice that um, more often it started to trend away from the men creating the issues of the club, and it would become the women. They would fight, and when they would fight or start stuff, it would bring guys into it, and so the situation would escalate. Then uh, the studs, a few years, it would graduate. They would cause issues, right? They would get into it with their girls, or they would get into it with dudes talking to their girls, or they would just and see. Then you have an emotion. You have a female acting as a man with female emotion still, and it would escalate terribly. Um, so now I see just complete recklessness. So fast forward. This is what I noticed when the evolution of the YN situation. All right. The evolution of it went from you have a couple people that just don't know how to go out and have a good time to pretty much everybody just going out waiting for some shit to happen. So I go out with my young dudes, and these are my dudes because I used to be their boss at the plant, right? So I put them on, get them jobs. We hang. We don't really hang out, but they come and kick it to me, and they need something. I provide it for them, right? And so these my dudes. These my little dudes. I remember my one homie, my one my one youngin. His mom, she was the team leader. I was her supervisor, and his dad really wasn't in the question. She like you basically his dad. Like he listens to you more than anybody, right? And he would get in trouble when I get on his ass. And he's grown man. I met him when I was grown. He was grown, right? When his mom worked at the same facility. And how I ended up going out with him that day, I went over to his house. We chilling and talking. And he came up on a lot of money. And he blew a lot of money. And so I was chopping it up to him about investing, right? Because I've been there. I made a lot of money and I blew a lot of money because I didn't know what to do with it. That's how paid cash for a Corvette. That's how I paid cash for all these boats and these cars and stuff. Just not putting it in the right place. I mean, just like a normal young dude went out. He had the what do we call that? The nighttime ballerina club, throwing money, making it rain, doing all these things. And I'm like, well, now that money that you made is gone. And now you back scrambling, right? So you have to learn to make money, make money. So this is how we get there. So we talking, the other YNs, his homies, cousins, friends, whatever. They be around, they know who I am. So they start coming over. He's like, let's go here, ride with me here. So we go get them. So the conversation's still going on. So they end up convincing me to go with him to this place. And I haven't been to this venue since it switched owners, right? Me and the owner, we had been in talks with doing karaoke and doing ballroom and events, upscale stuff, because a lot of the people that I know don't want they don't have out here where I'm at in Toledo. They don't have an upscale ish. They do now because of looks. Um, they don't have an upscale where they feel safe to go to, right? Because of the YNs out here. So me listening to that, there's a need in the market, right? So being in management, but being a person that's in management, that I kind of be with the people on the floor more than I be with the people in management. If that makes sense, I'm for the people. I'm working management, but I'm for the people. I hear this like, man, we got nowhere to go. We got to go to Detroit every time you want to go do so. Well, it's a big promoter in Detroit. I still hang out, and well, it's not hang out. Well, I still know all the big promoters in Detroit. We have the same formula. All I have to do is bring it out here. You would think, right? But it's a different mind state in this city than it is there. Why do I say that? The Detroit nightlife is on a different scale. That's why when you see like the Detroit takeover, or Detroit to go to Atlanta, Detroit to go to Houston, Detroit to go to Miami, and then you see cities trying to mimic it, like Toledo even tried to mimic it last year, right? The vibes change at a Detroit party. If you haven't partied in Detroit, ask somebody. If you partied in Detroit, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a different level. It's a getting money. It's a environment with the older crowds. And I don't not saying it don't be some shit. Like go to the after hours, rest up, Mikey. Um, something just happened to him. One of the premier owners of venues in Detroit, Sloppy Crab, where we've done upscale events. The tempo we try to have here is to have a good time, you leave safe, right? To come out the dress code. Again, when I started seeing this evolution of the YN, it's just a group of people that want to be on demon time. We call it YNs, but out here is really diverse. So you got YWs, you got YMs, and YNs. They all act the damn same, right? It's really not trying to really it's just like they waiting for some shit to happen and they're gonna start it. So back to the story. So I get in the car or the truck and we out. Now we went from me and him to we about 4 or 5 deep in the truck. So we go to this bar. Mind you, every one of these YNs had guns when they got in the car. So I'm like, oh wow. Oh, so we go to this venue, and I remember the venue. It was one of the places when I moved out here. One of my homeboys he took me to when it was under a different name, and I remember coming out here and it was packed. And I'm from a different city at the time, and they know I'm not from here. This town is big, but it's small at the same time. Everyone in this city knows everyone. Everyone in Toledo knows everybody. So I'm the new guy, and so everybody's looking, but they don't know me. And I'm like, okay, I'm peeping the vibes of this atmosphere. This is like a place like, okay, they're having a good time, but some shit can really go bad here. I'm looking at how they dress and they fresh, but they not fresh enough where you can't get your ass shot, stumped, or killed, right? So I'm like, damn, there's a lot of dudes, a lot of people in here just wilding, wilding. And so it's not the environment that this is the environment I would be in my 20s, not my 30s and 40s. You know what I'm saying? That's just that environment. Like if I was still all the way in the streets and or half in the streets and half out, yeah, okay, cool. Not saying the people are bad; they're cool people, but the propensity and the some shit can happen in this type of environment. And when you go out, You have to have this ability about you to see when some stuff is about to go south. You have to have this feeling that you know how to get yourself out of a situation before it pops off. When I was with my ex, we used to go out a lot. And I would tell her, like, okay, it's time to go. Or this person, they're about to fight. When I'm in a club, being a promoter, being security, and doing all these things, I don't look at a party how people see it. Um, being in the military, being in law enforcement, all that's still inside of me. So I scan rooms and I'm listening to conversations, multiple conversations at one time. It's like Superman or the Batman. I'm hearing everything. So a lot of the times before some shit would happen, I would tell her, "I'll move over here. They're about to fight, or this is about to happen, or it's time to go." Right? And she, how do you know? Because I'm always scanning body language. I'm always scanning conversations and um the vibes. You can feel the vibes, right? And so when I first came to this venue, and it was before it was the name now, this is before my YNs took me to this park. It was a different vibe than what we do where I'm from. Like some of the parties that we throw, some of the events that we throw, not just myself. Shout out Mo Ryland, shout out Big West, shout out Cooler, um, shout out V. You can tell, like we try to up it. Even as promoters, we try to dress a certain way to set the tone, right? We try to act a certain way to set the tone. Shout out Trav, shout out OPO. Um, so we try to set the tone. But here is different because there's a ceiling to how they dress when they go out here. J's, a nice jogging suit, certain things that back a while ago we wouldn't even let you in the club with in the city. Not saying the outfits are bad because they're nice, right? But it's just certain things like out here. I've seen people, and one of the shootings that happened when I was in a club out here was crazy because I was talking to the owner of the venue about him not wanting that type of crowd and that type of image, and we were setting a deal up to do um events, and the shit got shot up that night. And I watched the guys come in the back of the bar that night, and they were and which is crazy because one of the big names out here let them in. I watched them do it, and and so the guys come in. They got full face mask, hoodies on, a group of YNs, if we categorize it like that, right? I watched them come in the club. They had done something in the street. On social media, people, it was lit. People filming on social media, they on their lives, and whoever they did, whatever they did to, saw them. A few minutes later, those people came. And I'm sitting here, I'm talking to a very nice young lady. I'm not gonna say her name. This is years ago, right? And I watched the crowd. I watched the crowd run from the door, right? Let me switch this jack. So I watched the crowd run from the door, and then they go back. So which confused me because I'm like, damn, what's going on? And so this is how people have been so toned down to violence and so toned down to threat levels to their own safety that they don't care anymore. People are straight on demon time. How do you see people approach a door with firearms, right? You flee the initial you flee the initial threat because they didn't shoot at that moment. But then you go back to partying and dancing like you just didn't see that shit. So my focus was on the young lady, and I was with some young ladies while I was talking to this young lady. I'm trying to be sneaky. Let's just put it like that. So I came with some girls, but she was for everybody, right? So we established that we cool, we friends. Not you, not my girl. I'm not your dude. So I'm talking to another girl that I met there. So I'm not really paying attention to what is going on behind me because this establishment is more so what I'm used to, right? But I see 5, 10 minutes earlier, these dudes come in with the local celebrity. They go to the back. Then they come back and trickle back in. The crowd comes running this way. And I'm like, what the hell? Now, mind you, I'm not magged up at the time. The one time I decide to leave it in the car, it's in the car. So the people go back like nothing happened. I'm like, that was weird. Never seen that. About 1 minute later, boom, 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 boom. So all you hear. One friend, she tries to run. I had to grab her. I threw the girl I was talking to, my other friend that's a female, pushed them on the floor. The one, she's two people in between me. She's at the end. She's trying to run, panic. Something similar has happened to her before. So she's trying to run. Snatch her down. They're airing out the place. Literally. Airing out the place. And another dude comes from the back. And I'm looking at this guy across from me, which is crazy. On the ground, he's laying on the ground, right? He has a whole Draco. How in the fuck did you get in here with a whole Draco? Literally, I'm looking at him, but he's scared because they're shooting. So he has his gun, but he's not returning fire while they're emptying out into the club. So eventually a guy comes around the corner and he starts shooting. I'm trying to hold a girl because she's trying to run. Literally, she's in fear. She's in flight mode, and she's trying to run. So, but I have two people in between me. The girl I was getting a number, and then the girl that was friends with her. And I'm literally got one arm stretched out like this, holding the girl on the ground because she's trying to take off and run. So another guy comes around the corner. She starts shooting. Back, returning fire. Actually hit two of the guys. Everybody gets up. People run. Whatever. Okay. What I'm trying to get to here is that whatever those people did in the streets, they brought that to the venue right afterwards. Like you really, I heard the rumors. I don't know. I heard they got active and they went straight out like to celebrate. This is where you got to understand that this disease is this disease. This is where y'all thought it was funny when y'all raising these kids that y'all they friends instead of their parents, that they have no morals. That really TV, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, and all these Tubi and whatever other shit they was watching. This is what raised your child. So they don't have any empathy. They think life is a game, life is a movie, right? Like, how can you literally see somebody come to a window with sticks? They don't shoot at that moment because they couldn't see who they wanted to shoot. That's where I surmised after I'm even dissecting it right now in my brain. Like, oh, okay. When they first came, they didn't shoot because they didn't see the people they wanted because they was on the other side of the venue. But when those people came back and they saw them, they started dumping into the venue. But how can you see that, right? How can you see that your life can end like bullets got names on them or they gonna dodge around you to hit their target, right? And you just continue on like nothing happened, right? How can you just do some stuff in the street and just pop your ass up in the club? You on live social media, everything, and like it's okay. How can you, as a person that was hosting this event, let people in the club masked up, hoodied up? So that's what my why is. Fast forward to almost the present. So we go to this establishment that has changed names. And like I said, the last time I was there, it just the dude was trying to step it up, but just like the other venue, it just didn't happen. He either ran out of money or got tired of the situation or whatever happened. So we go back, I go in with them. Every single gun that they had in the car ended up in the club. They're happy because they got their shit with them. I'm in disbelief because the security guard didn't secure nothing. He comes outside. They got bottles in the truck. everything. I'm just observing this shit because I really couldn't believe. I really just wanted to see how these YNs really go about their day, and they do this all the time. So they got a bottle. They driving around, sticks, bottle, weed, everything, right? I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. And so the security guard, supposed to be security guard, I don't know what he's securing. I guess he's just somebody from their side of the hood that can fight or think he can fight. He comes out talking all this shit, grabs the bottle, he starts drinking. Now I'm thinking it's just at the time I'm thinking it's just one of their boys to come out of the club. So they give him the tools. He goes back, we go inside. I'm trying to process what's happening here. Like, what the fuck is going on? So we go in, he gives them back the tools. The new owner is right there. They introduced me to him. I seen him around. Like, wow, the hell? So you think that you the only one that got your tools in here? So in my mind, I'm like, why would you want to go to a place like this where literally your life is on the line? A couple days before on the news, some dudes had got into another venue around here, right? With they tools. And they bragging about it in the bathroom. Made the news. Made the actual news out here. A couple days later, the guy makes the news again, getting beat up. Well, the social media news, getting beat up outside the place that I told you I became a nuisance. Now, it's a small town. As I said, they knew me because I was the new guy to this town when I was the new guy to this town. They knew this dude. You just saw him on the news with doing what he did with Dracos and Extendos at the other club. But he's here now, right? Y'all know what y'all just saw on the news, but y'all still you let him into another venue. He's actively being searched for by the police for getting this stuff in the club. That's really got him indicted. The mentality of this generation of YNs, YWs, YMs, they even got young Indians now running around here. I've seen them acting up on the plane. The mindset of this generation is that they have no concern for anyone else, and they don't even have concern for their own safety and well-being. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen, right? But we allow it. And this is when I went to the military, right? When I went to the Navy. One of the first classes we had, right? We watched movies on war, right? Because they want to train your mind to what you can see in combat. So we saw people shot to pieces, stabbed, blown up. However, they could die, we would get indoctrinated to this. What were they doing? It's a psyops to get your mind used to seeing death, to get your mind used to seeing suffering, right? To condition your mind to be used to this stuff. Every armed forces goes through this. What do you think Grand Theft Auto? What do you think Call of Duty? What do you think all these movies and stuff about death, murder, killing? If you're cycling this through your brain consistently, day after day, for hours, right? You become detached from the humanity of, right? You become programmed like a robot because you become comfortable with death. You become comfortable with shooting. As an adult in my 20s, when Grand Theft Auto 4 or whatever it was first came out, and that was a period of my life. I was like Yosemite Sam, like running around with two pistols, wilding out, fighting people, doing YN shit, but just not YN shit because it was for a purpose, right? I wasn't just dumbing out just to dumb out. Like, you do something to me or my people, then okay. Or if it was about some money, it wasn't just erratically. You have few people at that time, a generation ago, that would just do dumb shit for no reason, right? The '80s babies, we're a little different. Most of us, we did dirt because when we had to or for a reason. Now it's just fun to do dirt. Why is it that way? We grew up off Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario Brothers and Mike Tyson Punch Out and Tecmo Bowl and John Madden football. These kids have grown up literally off of killing, murder, robbery, and Grand Theft Auto. Literally. Like I said, when the game first came out, it had me tripping. When I used to play it all the time, so I stopped playing it. It had me tripping. Like I didn't give a fuck about nothing. But in real life, there's not a reset button. You don't regenerate after you kill somebody or someone kills you. You know what I'm saying? You don't go to jail and get out 5 seconds later like you do in the video game. There is no spawning like you do in Call of Duty. We had Metal Gear Solid and stuff like that. It has come to the point you can do anything you want to in these video games. We glamorize the shit on Tubi. And a lot of these Tubi actors I know personally. I grew up with them. I've known them for years. Pretty much all the ones from Detroit. I've thrown parties for them and events with them and done all types of things. Um, but yeah, get your money. But at the same time, we have made actions with no consequences a priority, right? And so now you've seen these little. I didn't even know like YN, when we talk about YNs and YWs, like I said, I'm just using YNs, the YN as the surface because there's YWs and there's YMs and there's YIs and there's YAs. All of them are wilding out. But I didn't even know they were this packed up until I saw this events that was happening in Houston. I see them outside and it'd be like 30, 40 of them. Like you drive by a liquor store, right? You'll drive by the mall, you'll drive by the gas station because they outside. They've become like a literal species, right? When we use the term in black folks and real niggas, we use the term YN like it's a species of animal. And it really is. Like we what are we blacklisted Mel Gibson when he said it was a pack of niggas gonna do something. Now it's really a pack of them. It's a pack of YNs and YWs and YAs and YMs, right? They are the next generation is a whole different species of human beings. They really on demon time. They really have no empathy, no morals. They just do anything. They fuck, fight, and shoot and go to sleep. And I'm trying to figure out who's funding them because how are they at events when they don't want to work? They don't want to create any money. I don't even see them selling drugs like that because no one's outside on the corners like when in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. You had to be in the trap or on the corner or something. Um, I don't see businesses being boomed by them because as an entrepreneur, it takes a lot of time to generate revenue, just as much as when I have a job. Or so where are they? Who's funding them to get in parties in Houston? Who's funding them to get to Houston? Who's funding them to get to these places where they're going? How are they getting to Cancun in Mexico? Because I remember when I used to go on spring break and go to Cancun, we taking tax money, but to have taxes, you got to have a job, right? Scamming is, I know scamming still exists, but it's not like it was because all the big scammers I know, they ain't scamming no more. They broke again. You know what I'm saying? Like they I don't use that term. They screwed up all their money and they didn't invest in anything. So they don't have anything anymore. So while they had all the baddest chicks at that little run they had in 2000 to 2020. I'd say it ended at about 2022, right? Uh, all the scammers I know, they washed up now, just like most of the drug dealers I know from the early times. They're either locked up or in jail. So, but these YNs don't have that type of work ethic, right? They're not outside. I mean, all the hustlers I know, they used to be outside to sun up to sundown, and then they come in the club with a bag. So I don't know where these YNs is getting their funding from. And maybe the government is funding them, like they put guns in Chicago. I don't know. I don't know how they're getting to Cancun because I know I used to work. I used to be the marijuana man, uh, and it took stacking to go places. Like I had to generate my own money. Then I look at some of these YNs' parents being a boss, and their parents ain't really got it like that. So I'm like, where the fuck is they? How is they going all these places causing all this mayhem, right? And no one's taught them any ethics or morals. They just live in. So, like I said, when I go out with my when I went out that night with my YNs, and literally I'm in the car, we talking, but I'm trying to give them a different perspective because when I was growing up, I didn't have like my uncles on my mom's side, right? They were all workers. My dad's side is all street hustlers, right? So, and then the people I grew up with that was getting money, they didn't they didn't tell me go buy an apartment building or go buy some houses or don't do this and do that. Right? I never had nobody that I seen that I was trying to be like or trying to level up at teach me anything to do right with it. Like, oh, you got a bag, go get you a car. So I go get an old school. You getting money, go do this. Like you go take you a trip. I didn't have anybody to teach me, okay, I seen all the hustlers that had money at one point go down. I seen that. I could physically see, like, okay, they run comes to an end, right? Before and they got it after when they go to jail, they get out and they don't have shit no more. And you sit in the barbershop, well, I used to have this and I used to have that. I used to be the man. Remember this, blah, blah, blah. Right. But they're bummed now, right? Because the feds took everything they had, or the ones that went to jail or went to got killed, right? But I never had someone, even my even the rich people I knew that had jobs, because I know rich people at work. Like I work with some people that really got a bag, really got meals, right? And I'd be like, "How you get this?" I seen one of my homies get a stock return of over 400,000. Do you think he told me what stock it was? I had to literally take his phone, give me that, look at it, and I don't even think he knew that I knew how to read the markers for stock trades. And to get it, like, oh, okay, so this is what he's investing in. But he never sat me down like, hey, I remember there was some shady shit. I was making like $8,000 a week, anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000 a week, right? And it never was like put this money into that, right? It never was do this with the money or do that with the money. Smart thing. Hey, this is how I went and got my Corvette. He never said he's like, go get you a vet. Don't get a charger. Go get a vet. It's a different, but never do something intelligent with the money, right? But then I had older cats that I was around. Shout out Trav, shout out OP. When I was at the height of my promoting, where they taught me how to mature and maturation my crowd, right? So I started dressing how I wanted my crowd to work, how do I want it, and how I wanted to move differently. Like if you don't want events that's getting shot up and stabbed up and all these things, you got to set the tone. So I started setting the tone as the lead promoter of my events. I would dress up, button up, slacks, how I wanted the event to be. And then I noticed the dude gonna follow because if the ladies still coming, they feel comfortable, they feel safe. And the dudes, they want to go where the ladies is. So then they started leveling up, right? So what another thing I did some of the people that I would have problems with the most problems with them trying to fight and stuff, I started making them my security. So they get in the club for free. They get to throw out people that's causing me problems, and that stopped a lot of the drama that I was having at parties and events. But see, I had nobody ever really tell me when I was getting to it. And it's a time where like, nah, I was talking to my boy the other day. He's got a flooring company. He's doing all these jobs, right? And like I got the boats going. I'm selling them off, right? I'm not doing even the boat rental stuff no more. Um, because my big homies, I consider them generals. I consider myself like a colonel or major, right? So I don't want like I was telling my boy like I can't keep going as hard like doing all these different things, right? Working on cars and working a job and doing he's got the flooring business and I got the cleaning company. Like we gotta start making this money work, right? We wasted our 20s and our 30s, right? We can't blame God, can't blame the system, can't blame nothing. We had big bags at the time. Just told y'all it was a time I was making $2,000 to $8,000 a fucking week. And this was a 2-year run, right? But we didn't know what to do with the money. And it comes it's just anything in the game's got valleys and peaks, right? You make a lot of money, you don't make a lot of money. That's why I be laughing when you see like you got these plant workers, right? I try to talk to them too. It's a time in the plant where you make 100,000, 200,000, then you'll go to nothing. It'd be a layoff the next year, right? You don't get a profit sharing or something like that. You got to learn how to make your money work. My parents of my friends, right? I watched them have all this stuff when they were working, right? And then when they retire, they don't got nothing. They had to go work a job at Walmart or work a job at somewhere to just make ends meet, right? But they used to be in the brothers truckers. They had the new cars every year. They had all these things, right, when they were working, but they never put the money to work. And that's in any profession. That's in any profession. If you don't make the money work, you won't have nothing. Remember, when I was on the line and Ford was about to take their bankruptcy, one of the guys on the line, and I never knew he had this much money, but he took his profit sharings and he always put them into stocks, right? So when Ford went down to $2, he bought $100,000 worth of stocks. I think Ford was trading at like $2, $5. And he spent 100,000, took his profit sharing, and most of his money would just go straight into his 401k. And he said, we were sitting there talking, and I'm like, "How do you live?" He said, "I take what I live, I'm monthly, and I put the rest in investments, right?" And so when we came back to work, kept calling off. I'm like, "How are you making any bread?" He's like, "Man, when I put that money into when we went bankrupt or was about to go bankrupt, I put that money into GM and Ford. Now it was at $2, $5. Now it's back sharing at 15 and $20 and $60 for the GM. He made all that money back off them shares. He's really rich, sitting there on the line. He's only there for the thing. But what I was telling my youngins, I didn't have anybody to direct me in the right path. When I was at my youngest and I could work and I could hustle and I could do all these things at the same time, right? I had all this energy. The people around me only knew spin, spin, spin. Um, One of the people closest to me, I remember when I went to the police academy. Uh, I can't say it right now, but yeah, I can. I don't care. My uncle. First time I saw it, he had 80,000 cash in the safe, right? And I was like, "You don't get this shit." Yeah, I was staying at one of his houses, and my uncle, he took care of me, right? He wanted me to go down there to do this, but obviously for the amount of cash I just told you, and I'm like, and he had people they knock on the door trying to get served at night, and I'm in the academy at the time. I'm like, "Dog," my life was kind of like training day at that moment because like his soldiers, I would help them beat cases. I ride around with them. I beat them. Then I go to the police academy and do what I had to do and come home and be with his team of people. And I watched him, a lot of my family members, associates that are in that life, right? When something happens, when they go to jail or something like that, they get out or they get old and that money's not coming in like that, their lifestyle changed, right? But nobody ever told me that when I mean they had all the cars, all the jewelry, all the clothes. They go out to the what are we saying? The late night ballerina clubs and throw money. They did all of that. But then when it comes to girls, I know athletes the same way. Professional athletes. They had everything. I know rappers, they had everything. If you don't make the money work, right? Eventually it's gonna go away. And you're not going to be able to do what you used to do, how you used to do it to obtain and maintain that type of lifestyle, right? No matter if it's legal or illegal. If you don't turn your money into making money for you, if you don't make your money work for you, it will eventually run out at some point in time because you're not going to be able to move. So, like I said, I was telling my boy, like, we gotta this last amount of surge of energy that we have before we get into our 50s, we got to start using the money wisely, right? So when you see me offloading everything, it's because my rich homie is offloading shit. Y'all think I got boats and cars. He's got yachts and cars. And I said, why you sell everything? And what he sold everything to do was to buy the trucks in the warehouse and the legit stuff that's going to create more money. So if he can do it, why can't I? He was already a millionaire, you know? And this is where I'm trying to get to. So I sit down and I listen to him. I listen to all my big homies. Like I tell my other big homies, like I don't want to be and when I say big homies, these are millionaires that I'm talking about. Some from the street, some from, they got a different way from legit stuff or business owners. I don't want to be around anybody that's not actively trying to do better in life, right? I've had pretty much everything I wanted. If I didn't own it, I've drove it. I've drove Lambros, I've drove Vipers, I drove in Bentleys. I know people with Bentleys, I know people with Maseratis, I know people with yachts. I've been in a helicopter. I've done all that shit. So it don't really impress me no more. And I know how to get little because I've been up and I've been down. What I haven't been is had millions at one time. I've made multi-millions in my life. I'm a thousandaire. Tired of being. So when I was in the car with them, riding around, then it's funny because that part of me can match right up with it, right? But then it's a part of me that can go put on the polo and go be your boss at a Fortune 500 company too. I can sit in both worlds, gangster, gentleman. So I'm in the car with them. So I wasn't nervous or nothing in the car. I mean, they got stick switches and there was everything in that car. And then I'm sitting here like, how do y'all ride around with this? Now I'm driving because I'm the only one in the car with a license. And I'm like, y'all really do this shit every day? Like, you don't have a license for being in a high speed chase. You just got out of prison. But this is like, their mindset is like, no, yeah, I put myself in harm's way too because if we got flicked and okay. But at the same time, I felt it was more important for me to try to reach them and or at least understand where they come from. And where they come from is they don't see a tomorrow more than what their life is at that moment. They're not thinking forward. They're thinking in that moment. As much shit as I used to do, I always thought forward. I may not have seemed like it, but it was always a plan to try to advance myself to a different level. They don't see that. They live in the moment. And so in this car ride, I'm sitting here driving around like number one, you're driving in a car with damage and stuff that can get you stopped. You got tail light missing, we fully intent, your mirrors is off. What the what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? So we go to this venue and they get all the shit that they had in the car inside the club. And so I'm in the club, like I'm looking around, I'm looking at everybody there, and it's pretty much people that want to be seen. All right. They want to seem like they're doing something. We got a few people in there that's really getting to it. But for the majority, they want to be seen. One of the people, she's a dancer. Married, cool, right? Met her on her birthday. I was with my ex, and met her at her birthday at one of my other friends' clubs that he used to own. It's shut down right now. But they were playing pool and play pool for $100. So she beat me, I give her $100. I'm just giving her a birthday gift. And so we've been cool ever since that point. Nothing sexual, nothing like that. She's just a cool person. But every time I see her outside, people are jumping her. I've been to three different events, and she's got snuck by another female 3 different times. So when I seen her, I'm like, I seen you at such and such. Somebody stole on you. She was like, you was there. I was like, yeah. I was about to be like, hey, I was in the DJ booth, and I was about to say hey to you, and then this girl came up and just punched you, and y'all got to fight. And she's like, yeah. So I asked her, I was like, well, if you got all this hate, why do you go out? At least if you're gonna go out, go to somewhere where these same people are at. And I don't care about these. They can do whatever. They ain't gonna do nothing. 2 days later, same venue. I wasn't there this time. She got jumped. These YNs and and why what it dude call them YBs? Young girls. We just call them YGs. They don't have any self preservation. No, they just see now, right? They just see now. So when I'm looking at the shit in Houston, I'm like, wow, they down there on spring break tearing up everywhere they go because they're not there to really have a good time. Yeah, it's lit, but lit to them is really destruction. You see shooting, people getting arrested at the Daytona one. They're shooting on the beach. How are you even getting you out of state? I'm assuming most of y'all flew there. Maybe not. Maybe y'all drove, and that's how y'all got the guns on the beach. But no, you ain't get to the airport with it. You on the beach with a bunch of girls or whatever, or if it was women doing the shooting, I don't know. So what are y'all? What, what is the aim? Like just to go somewhere and tear shit up? Then out here, and I guess in other cities too, you got the YNs running into different places and they calling it takeovers. They tearing up shit and running out. They just did this at a urban air out here. What are y'all running into children's facilities? Like they're just mayhem. Now, ladies, babies, I knocked on a lot of doors and ran. I threw rocks at cars. I get it, right? But it's to the extent now. Now I was driving down the street the other day. Girl's like, hey, look, they over there getting ready to do some shit now. And we on Savannah and Toledo. And all you see is a pack of YNs. They hoodied up, just broad daylight. And if you know Savannah and Toledo, police is up and down Savannah. I never seen one cop stop like, why is these little fuckers out here gathering up like that? We've had such a problem in this country with law enforcement doing all types of shit to black people. But this gives them the I told you so moment, right? Y'all not raising y'all kids, right? He ain't a, I'm not I have a YB. He's a young boy. He ain't a YN because he's anything but that. He's an honor roll student. All my kids honor roll students. I come from y'all generation. I've done a lot more dirt, shit, and wild stuff than 90% of y'all on this damn podcast. But I did not raise them to be anything like me. I did not raise them to be anything like my father. I did not raise them to be anything like my uncles. Anybody that was doing shit that would affect their lives, right? I didn't want them to go to jail. I didn't want them to set up my sperm donor is a was a dealer. He didn't want me to sell dope. I sold my share of the green, but I don't understand how y'all can sit here. Well, but I do understand because a lot of y'all just don't get the shit either. Um, the ratchet culture, the ratchet mentality man and woman, is never gonna benefit you anything. I sit here and watch kids, people that I grew up with, kids get killed, right? Murdered. But then I'm thinking how they raised their child up, and they really wasn't about that life like that. But they raised their child, they blowing with their kid, um, just all types of shit that like if you've been through there, you lived that life, right? And you got any if you're a real father, a real mother, how would you want the worst shit for your own child to happen to you, right? It's like that movie Precious. All that shit that happened to Precious, like Monique's character let Precious get raped. All the shit that happened to her, she let happen to Precious. She put that shit on her. We've all seen, most of us seen that movie, right? From my generation. And I've seen people let that type of shit happen to their kids, put their shit in their own, and put their kids in bad situations that it can happen to them. And now you're seeing the results of that with these groups. I didn't know they traveled in packs like that. Like I've seen 20, 30 YNs. You look over, and I'm a very dangerous person. And I look over like I ain't got time for that shit. You know what I'm saying? 20-year-old me, 30-year-old me, I walk in there just to dominate that situation. And it's not like you can't beat them up, but they're going to shoot you. Like you're gonna have to get in a shootout with them and all types of crazy things. Like we champion the wrong shit, and it's trickled down now. So when I seen this group of kids, they said it was 10,000 of them on the beach. And my reaction when I'm looking at this scene, like from the helicopter or the surveillance camera, whatever the fuck it was above the crowd that was running from the shooters, right? And then I'm watching their reactions on the ground and how they just don't care. It's just like they were just shooting at y'all. I don't think anybody got hit. People getting locked up, they drinking. The damn police down there in Daytona, like, we locking y'all up for this, and this. Y'all giving the racist motherfuckers that do too much the moment where they can say, told you so. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, these I don't even want to call them they kids. I'm not one of those. I understand now. That some of y'all, this is just who y'all is. Y'all really just be on demon time. Y'all just raised a group of demons. So I'm not the one here trying to try save everybody. The ones that can hear me, do y'all call yourself chosen ones? Do better for y'all kids, man. Some motherfuckers they don't want to be right. They mentally, spiritually screwed up in the head. The parents and the children, right? My mom's a social worker. I remember she used to come home and tell me about these kids, and sometimes she had me go talk, and I couldn't believe what these kids was doing in like elementary and junior high and high school. Like, what the hell? Like, they doing grown people shit. But then the worst part is how the parents will react like that shit is cute. Like, you see these kids on the internet, y'all doing too much. Y'all setting them up for failure so bad because you a failure. Like, you want them to fail? Like, I never understood that shit. Like I said, I never wanted my kids to have any part to do. Well, I don't even want them to have parts to do with a job. Get your own business, start your own business, do your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Um, I never wanted them to start out with bad credit or nobody teaching them about this shit. I want them to be better than me. Like the whole point of having a child, I would believe, is like you want them to not have to struggle like you did. But we're seeing the reverse of that. And so now you have these packs of fucking they're like when I saw these YNs, I thought of the zombies and fucking what's that TV show? Walking Dead. That's what I saw when they zoomed in them. They're alive, but they might as well be zombies because they don't have any. Their life is like a fucking video or a movie, right? They're trying to emulate what they see on TV, video games, and social media, and they don't realize that they're really affecting what their future outcome is going to be. When I was younger, I didn't go start shit, but I was a finisher, or I would getting in other people's situations to help them, and they wouldn't help me. All right, I get in beefs that wasn't even my beefs because the people were attached to me some way. They were friends or family and shit like that, and they weren't willing to take it to what up, AD? They weren't really ready to take it to the level that I would take it to with people. I was out of my shit at one point in time. That never got me nowhere. Being the toughest, being the most wildest nigga, excuse me, wildest dude never got me nowhere, right? What did get me somewhere is being cool, the cool nigga, being smart, you know what I'm saying? Thank God, like I could traverse both sides of me, you know. But what we see now with these YNs, and like I said, I'm just using YNs, so I don't have to keep going back and saying YWs, young whites, young Mexicans, young Asians, young Indians. So everybody's trying to emulate this gangster shit, right? And what y'all don't understand is a lot of these people on social media, the Crip Max and the Deans, all this dumb shit that they doing, right, will get you hurt, killed, locked up, right? This is a guy on here now. He from D, and he got popular because people said you wouldn't do that shit in Detroit, right? This dude getting body slammed, punched on, everything to try to prove a point. He's gonna say he goes out and says crazy shit to people, walks past him, says crazy shit to people. You in one of the most dangerous cities that's ever been, my nigga. And you doing this for likes. Maybe that's where these YNs is getting their money. Social media, I don't know. I'm really trying to figure out who's funding these lazy ass motherfuckers because from what I've seen, what I know, because I've hired them in bunches. HR has hired them. I remember we had 130 people we hired at GM at this one plant, right? By the end of their 90 days, and we needed them. Not that we was trying to hire 100 people and throw the shit on the wall and see who sticks. We needed every single one of them because we were down people. This gonna sound crazy. 106, it was 120 people. Six of them made it to their 90 days. That's in freaking insane when you start a job out making 20 something an hour with the ability to make 40 something in a couple years and you're not doing shit. But this was a parts plant. This is a transmission plant. Like we're not on the line building a car where you gotta pick up 80-pound torque wrenches and yeah, pick up tires and batteries and brake boosters and size of doors and shit like that. This wasn't that. This wasn't that. We had a parts plant, and you can't keep that job. Same thing when I was at the glass. We get people in there, and you sit in the control room there. Don't do nothing. That's the easiest. That's what I used to tell them. Like, y'all work here. You would never make it at G. Well, you know what do you mean? You don't walk out of this plant with your body hurting. Like I have, they're the same size now. Shout out Stacy for the lymphatic. She got my hands to work again. This hand used to be twice the size of this hand from working on the line. Literally. I used to tell them like, dude, y'all got it made. Y'all can miss a bunch of days. You get 12 points, something crazy, right? Most of the shit y'all do is half a point if you miss. These are easy jobs. I remember my first job. I'm gonna tell you how old I was. I remember my first job. Uh, McDonald's. No, it wasn't McDonald's. I'm sorry, Wendy's. Wendy's. $5 an hour, 5.50, 5.75, some crap like that. Uh, couldn't do nothing. The checks was like $100, 100. I don't know. I can't remember. It wasn't worth nothing. McDonald's. I thought that was a big raise. Like my first time at McDonald's before I became a supervisor there. It was $7 an hour. I started at TSA. We thought, and this is when they first made TSA on 9/11, right? And they took us from Skycap and security. What was the shit called at the airport? Can't think of the name of that company. But they made us security. Shout out Hoops. Hoops. We used to work together at the security at the gate. And they turned us into TSA. That was like 14, $15 an hour. No, we thought that was big money back then. You little fuckers can go to McDonald's right now and make $18 an hour. And y'all can't do that. So I'm starting to figure out, where is you YNs getting this money from? I'm trying to figure it out. How is y'all getting to Cancun, and how is y'all getting to Miami, and how is y'all getting to Houston? I remember I went to Houston in 24, and I'm a whole supervisor. That's all y'all in there. Shout out, TikTok. Y'all going up on there. I'm a whole supervisor in General Motors, and I flip cars, and I rent boats, and I was getting a whole bag, and Houston wasn't cheap. I can't see how y'all YNs and y'all don't want to work at all. And most of y'all just sit around and play video games, and you ain't moving no real weight. Y'all getting ounces, and I'm talking about weed. I ain't even talking about dope. Y'all y'all are out here selling, can't buy QP. Where y'all getting the money to do this from is bewildering to me. But y'all doing it. But y'all go places to tear shit up. Tear shit up. And like I said, it comes from the indoctrination, number one, of what y'all put into these children, which are now grown people or young people's minds. Like I said, y'all grew up off of Grand Theft Auto. Y'all grew up off of Modern War and Tubi and all these movies that make y'all think that ain't no real life consequences, and it definitely is. Like y'all see, motherfucker get shot in the movie, and then a movie later on Tubi, you click the next movie, and they back alive doing some more stuff. But in real life, when you get popped, it's not a movie. When you go to jail, it's not a movie. You really done. You know, like it's not where, okay, lights, camera, action. Let's go make um bad girls this and that, right? So yeah, the YN culture, or the young people culture now, is just to go cause mayhem and destruction. And like I said, I can knock on doors and run with the best of them, but just to go into an urban area and just destroy it, I take a lot of nuts, because obviously, and even in the town that you're doing it, it's a suburb of Toledo, so you know where you at. The prox That's like me being in Michigan and going to Canton to go. I know you're going to jail. You do something like that. Why are you even over on this side of town? And y'all just don't care. These kids just don't care, and that's a reflection of those who raised them. That's a direct reflection. You pregnant right now, and or you got you the father of somebody on the way. Don't be your kid's parent first. Be their friend second. All right. You should want your child to have a better experience of life than you. And that doesn't necessarily mean you let them get away with everything. No, you have to instill discipline. All right. You don't want your child playable. You don't want your child in jail or in a casket. Right. Like I said, some of the friends I grew up with, I seen their kids commit murders and get murdered. And then I look back on when I remember them raising their kids and how they was raising their kids was like they homie. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of the stuff they was instilling in them, they wasn't even about that life. Like kids got everything they want. You're not about to see them running around flashing money to you. I don't want them to be Hawaii, and I don't want them to be a hoodlum. I don't want them to be gangsters. You know what I'm saying? For what? I know what the end of that is. I know what it got me. I don't want them to sit in jail. I don't even think they're built for that because they had a good life. You know what I'm saying? Not, nor do I want them to be built for that. You know, it was nothing fun about fighting cases. You know, it's nothing fun about shooting at people and getting shot at. There's nothing fun about, well, I mean, I used to enjoy beating people up. But then even that, where did it get me? Locked up. I used to is nothing funny and the thing is I thank God for saving me from literally like some of the shit that I did that I didn't accomplish my goal, of hurting people or wilding out the nights that I was so drunk that I don't even know how I got home. I mean, I remember I was so drunk one time, I was blacking out while I was driving. I drove through the gate at my apartment, straight through the gate, boom, knocked the gate down. And I remember I remember going past the clubhouse to the pool and I just barely missed the curb. And I remember rolling out of the car. Now my friends, my boys, his girlfriend, the one that got me this, he was drinking Slurricane, and it tastes like Kool-Aid to me, so I'm just dumping it, right? And I don't know how I made it home. Like literally, I don't want them to experience that. I could have went to jail for like super drunk. I could have got killed. I know people that got killed from drunk drivers. I know people that then been arrested and their whole life. This guy I used to work with at TSA, and he had lost his license for 8 years. Right, 8 years he had to get a ride. This before it was an Uber. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't no Uber then. Wasn't no none of that ride share shit. You had to get a taxi or you had to get a ride. It's a grown ass man. He's older than me, and because he had lost his license for 8 years, for my boy now, he ain't had a license since we was 15 or 16 when he got his first car. When was the last time he had a license? He got a Doug, and he on his shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that for them. So if you pregnant right now or you got a child on the way, you a dude, be better. Teach them better than what we seeing. Cause this we got I don't see how you can stop it. It's like a wave of zombies. Literally, like when I was watching these kids, I didn't realize it was this many fucked up ass young adults. Like, damn. Like, and then you got a generation behind them, these teenagers, these middle schoolers, that's the same way. They busting in high schools now. Like the stuff that you used to see little crazy white kids doing is happening on a regular basis. Right? You used to see a shooter in somewhere in Oklahoma or Arkansas, wherever the hell these crazy little shits and they Metallica shirts and whatever it was doing. Now you're seeing it in urban areas constantly, right? These little dudes, I remember my boy, shout out Kareem, free Kareem. He had bought a rental and we was putting it together. He was on the roof. We on the roof, right? And these little kids rode by him, bicycles. And I'm talking about they're my son's age at the time, like 9, 10. They got extendos. I'm looking down off the roof like, what the hell? All three of them. I look, oh, shit, I got a regular clip. These little niggas is 10, 9, 11, 12 tops. All three of them. Sticks. Like, wow, that's crazy. We on the roof. We might as well stay up here. I only got 8 rounds. They got 30. It's crazy. Young kids. What are we doing out here? What are we doing out here? What are we raising out here? Um, we raising, and it goes back to all these broken homes again, and no morals. Everybody want to be a Cardi B. Everybody want to be a hot boy, hot girl summer, and we letting our kids grow right into that. And so they thinking this fake alternative lifestyle, rap, movies, video games. They think this shit is reality when it's really not. It's really consequences to this. Everybody just living for a moment or in the moment, and they don't really think about their future and with these consequences. Like I said, it was a time when I used to do the same thing. Like I would think about it, but I just didn't give a damn. And when I didn't, it cost me. But now, like it was times I could have did stuff to people, and I thought about it like, is it worth me going to jail forever, or is it worth me taking this person off this planet for this petty ass shit? And if you YN watching this and you got a temper, a lot of the cats that when the major beefs I had was in high school, when it went from fighting to we toting guns and we almost on the verge of killing each other. These same dudes that I couldn't stand in my junior year, in my early 20s, these are I'm good friends with them now at this day. I just seen a lot of them. I went my cousin. Shout out C Austin. Shout out BZ Bag. Shout out Kizzy Lewis. Shout out V. Big West. G Turner. Um, there was so many of y'all up there, man, and I ain't seen in a minute because I've been out the way. It was people there that we were at a state of cold war. Basically, it got hot sometimes. It got hot sometimes. A lot of fighting, but these same cats, right? When we got into our mid 20s, these became my friends, right? But at a point in time, we couldn't stand each other. We was beefing a lot because we was in different cliques, in different forms. I remember when I got kicked out of Canada. Probably the only person on the podcast can tell you that. So I remember it was a fight. We got in a fight with these dudes from 7 Mile in the D, but we was in Canada, right? This is Inkster, this is Ipsy, and these cats from 7 Mile, I believe that's where they were from. And some of my homies from the D, West Side dudes. And we ended up getting in this big brawl. And all Ipsy, all Inkster, and friends from the D came together to massacre these people in Don Cherry's. But prior to that, in high school, we used to be beefing. But we all came together to whoop their ass that day. And I think that's from that point on, we've been friends since. What if we would have took it there? Like a lot of the shit that we think is so serious in that moment ain't really nothing. And if you give it time, you know what I'm saying? You when you grow older, you grow wiser, you look back at the shit, you be like, damn, like, dude was cool. Dude is cool. You know what I'm saying? And you can really count on a lot of these people that you thought you was beefed out with over chicks and shit that ain't even around no more. Over shit that ain't even around no more. And you got relationships with people that actually grow. You can't grow that relationship if you put somebody in the dirt or you get put in jail or they get put in jail putting you in the dirt or vice versa. Or you get caught up and both of y'all go to jail or some dumb shit or both of y'all get put in the dirt over dumb shit like that you did in your youth. And you sitting in a jail cell now 10, 15, 20 years over a split second decision that really didn't mean nothing. That really didn't mean nothing. But and it's sad, a lot of y'all see y'all parents or as crash outs and you develop into a crash out. Or you don't see a future for yourself beyond that moment. Like I said, this coming from somebody that did a lot of dumb shit. And thank God I'm still here. And probably the reason for that, so I can tell y'all not to do some of the dumb shit that I thought was cool. But we have a whole wave, and it's crazy. It's like the herd. It's like it really looks like the herd in Walking Dead of YNs that are just crash outs. They go places literally to crash out. I don't know who's funding this wave of zombie ass human beings, but they straight up on demon time. And it's a direct failure of us as parents, us as big homies, big sisters, big brothers. It's a direct failure that our mindset is so low, our vibration and our mentality is so low that we think this shit on social media, on the ignorance on social media, the ignorance in movies, the ignorance in video games, the ignorance in our society that this shit is cool. So now we have a group of people, and I'm not the only one, that you see a group of these little motherfuckers, you can be like, shit, I'm smooth. I go get gas somewhere else. I go get groceries somewhere else. You can't even take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese no more. You can't even take your kids to Urban Air no more. You can't even go to the movies no more. I went to the movies. I went to the mall the other day and I bought the other chain. The movies looked like a fucking fortress. They had cops everywhere, armed police, security. They had like four different types of security and uniformed cops walking around because of YNs tearing up the movies, tearing up the mall, and all these places. You can't go nowhere anymore. And we created the problem. We've created the problem. I don't know if it can even be fixed. Like I said, I'm not here to tell y'all shit. I had a conversation with God today. It's like, these your peoples, them ain't my peoples. They are they father the devil. It says that in the Bible. I told you, you got children of God or children of the devil. Some of y'all, man, y'all like, and I learned that the hard way. Some of y'all like being fucking losers. And it's just what it is. This ain't this ain't the usual preaching and teaching here. Some of y'all like being fucking losers. It's just what you want to be. It's crazy to me. Y'all just think that shit is cool. Then ain't shit. And you set yourself up for failure. So what are we gonna do? Because these little motherfuckers is a problem. They are a problem, a big problem. I didn't really realize it was that many because you just driving around, you see 10 of them, 5 of them, couple of them. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really shit by themselves unless they got a pole on them, and then they still, what I'm saying, really not shit. But when they get in these groups, I only seen, like I said, like the most I've ever seen was the other day when I was driving down Sylvania, and I seen it on video what happened at Urban Air when there was 100 of them little fuckers running around tearing up Urban Air. While you got kids and parents in there trying to celebrate birthdays and chill and have a good time, you can't even take your little kids out because you got this pack of wildness running around. But then when I seen that Daytona and that Houston and that Dallas, oh yeah, they are hurt. That numbers was under my uncountable. That's a problem. They just going from city to city. It ain't even hot yet. It's hot down there in Daytona. It's a little warm in Houston and Dallas. Man, shit about to be hot up here up north too. What they gonna do? They gonna be tearing up the Taste Fest. When y'all go to concerts at Aretha Franklin, they gonna, what's next? The football games, the basketball games. They gonna take them over. We got a problem, and it's got to be fixed. You can't duck your head in the sand on this. We got to figure something out. And if you, like I say, you with child or somebody about to have a kid, or you the father of a kid, or man, we got to start. We got to do better. We got these 20-year-old YNs, 20, 25, and then you still got old motherfuckers acting ignorant too, stupid as hell, which is crazy to me. Just looking at this dude today, 50 something years old, shot this 10-year-old and shooting at 250. Nigga, what is you doing, bro? You old as hell. Go sit the fuck down. Seriously? What y'all arguing over beers? Like, come on, man. You didn't clap the kid, ain't hit nothing that you was trying to shoot. I mean, your ass too old to be shoot. Um, but we gotta solve this problem. We gotta solve this problem quick. I don't know if it can be done with these ways because, like I said, I was just out with my youngest. They heard me. You know what I'm saying? They came over the other day and we chopped it up again. I'm trying to plant the seeds in their mind. I ain't even hit them on the God level yet. I'm just hitting them on a reality level. We ain't talking no spiritual nothing. You can't do that with a lot of people because they're not in depth to that. Um, but we gotta do something. We gotta do something because the herd is coming to a town near you, to a place near you. And the offset of the herd is then you're gonna have law enforcement again feeling justified in the evils and the wrongs that they do. And they will justify it. Well, we doing it, and then black people gonna grit the crying, and I guess they're coming for the Mexicans too, because the YMs, young Mexicans, and I don't know if they're gonna attack the YWs because they're of their own. Um, they're their own. But then you got the YIs, young Indians. I couldn't believe that. Like, damn, they out here tearing up a plane. And I just had a faction of young Asian. Shout out my boy Jack. Shout out Mary. We got it's wild out here. I don't give a fuck at all. Don't excuse my French. I said what I said. We got a crash out culture. The culture, that's what it is. We living in a crash out culture, and it is going to upheave society. Man versus the machine. Y'all check me out on the next one. Appreciate y'all for coming out, or attending or being on this podcast. I love y'all. Talk to y'all later. All right.